in this country where there's like such definition around you in so many different ways. There's these pockets that you get placed in, which goes back to me as a child in school, and I was placed in all these pockets and labels, and if you just open your eyes and look past those boxes, you can see so much more. And it's not a bad thing to work with your hands. Richness is measured in not the right way. I live an incredibly rich life. I'm not a rich person. I'm sure there's people who love their office job and love their city life, but that's not me. My name's Evan HAXO. I drive down here every day, and I have a beautiful drive through northwestern Connecticut, and with my dog in the back and hanging out the window, and drive down a dirt road every day, and I love it. You get that nice half hour to settle your thoughts and get that coffee flowing and show up and be ready to make some cool stuff. For a long time, people would say, "Oh, you're an artist. What you do is an art." And in some respects, yes, it is an art. But art, I feel, is more of like a free-form thing, where making a cabinet or an entire kitchen to fit into 5 sides, that's like a science. That's like specificity. Maybe the definition of art comes from it being utilitarian or not. I mean, no, you don't need a $50,000 kitchen. That irritates me sometimes when people refer to it as art in that respect. But nonetheless, yeah, it's art. I wanted to be an inventor. That was like my thing. I want to be an inventor, Mom, and I would make all these weird drawings. I had an engineering tract was like my original idea, and during my college search, Allegheny was like one of the last schools I visited, and so at that point I had a pretty good idea of what I didn't want and what I thought I wanted. Sophomore year, I took an intro to geology class, and I was like, that's it. That's it. And college education definitely opened my eyes to a number of things that I would never have seen elsewhere, and for that it is immensely valuable. While those things aren't directly applicable to my life now, they are a set of skills that you are no longer without, and for the rest of your life you will have those skills. You need to be able to communicate, and I think that is one of the biggest takeaways from a college education is, or at least my college education, which was very focused on being able to articulate your concepts. Natural gas was booming. It was booming. Like, geologists were in such high demand, and I mean, Pennsylvania, the shale plays were, I mean, off the charts. You could get a job anywhere doing that kind of stuff, and so that was like, oh yeah, let's do this, let's go make money. And then by the time I got out of college, I got pretty depressed and really sick of college, and I was like unhealthy, and I hated school by the time I left it, and I didn't want a damn thing to do with anything about what I had done for the last 5 years. And after that, I just said, I'm done with that. I'm gonna keep doing something that makes me feel good, because like, that's cool, man, when you can get to like turn around and be like, I made that. So I finished it, I got that piece of paper, and it's collecting dust. So I left with, I don't really know exactly the number, probably 25 grand, something like that, of debt, and I got nine grand left, so I'm chipping away at it. But yeah, debt's a real thing. It's you don't get to like go travel and do whatever the hell you want. You gotta go make money. I mean, you can only learn so much in so much time, but you gotta keep learning. You gotta, no matter if you're on a job site or in the office or at school or at home. I mean, now we got these iPhones. You can learn so much from a smartphone. I mean, just like keep learning, keep looking for knowledge. And that goes back to how to get into this industry. Just keep learning. You gotta come out here every day or at least every other day and keep making stuff. Keep using your brain, using your hands, using the tools. Keep your familiarity with it. And so yeah, I mean, we're constantly inventing stuff. I mean, that's part of what we do that sets us aside from production cabinet shops. Like you go down to Home Depot, they're just gonna give you, oh, we have something that's 24 inches, something that's 16 inches, something that's 12 inches, and here's like a 4-inch board to just put on the end of it. We come into some weird, funky situations where clients want some weird stuff and we figure it out. Like, you want your nightstand to just like float off the wall? All right, sure. We'll weld up some brackets and hide them under some nice veneer.
Big smile.
First time I was really on the job with him, I think I was 12. And so growing up, Dad, can I come to work with you? Dad, can I come to work with you? And he used to say, when you can lift a sheet of plywood by yourself, you can come to work with me. And I don't know if I'd really mastered carrying a sheet of 3/4 by that point in time, but I would go help him on installations. He would do all the shop work here, produce all the stuff himself, and then I would come and help him put it in and run around and get tools and stuff like that. And that slowly matured into actually being able to help him put stuff in. But throughout that period in time, I worked for other general contractors. Like over the summers and breaks when I was home from school, I worked for my good friend's father. If you showed up in the morning and Gerhard said, I got a good job for a strapping young lad like yourself, you knew you were like vacuuming out a soaked crawl space or you're doing something crummy, but whatever. I mean, he offered me 20 bucks an hour and then asked me if I knew how to use a skill saw. This whole time I was working for these other contractors, anytime my father was on an installation, I would peel off and come up here and work with him for a week or two or whatever. And then I'd go back down and work with these other contractors. Well, you could still put it, we can move this. Framing or siding is like, just cut it and nail it up. And like, you're working in crummy situations and you're making weird cuts, and then I got here and I'm like, man, this is like way more accurate and way more specific. And I was like going a mile a minute trying to catch up and learn, and he kept saying, just slow down, just slow down, do it right. quit running around the shop, just like calm down and think about it. And it took me a while to slow my mind down and like actually focus. Oh, great. It feels like it's a dying industry if you look at the age demographic. I mean, you go to the hardware store, bunch of old guys behind the desk. Any delivery, bunch of old guys hobbling out of the truck, complaining about their knee and whatever. And there's a lot of singular thought throughout this industry. There is a huge preconceived notion that if you're working on a job site, you're a Republican, you're like all these like super right wing, like, because there's a lot of people who will boast their opinion, and you will find a lot of those people there. And it becomes very evident when an architect shows up or a designer shows up. These designers and architects who have this stereotype of these laborers or craftsmen or whatever, and these craftsmen and laborers have this stereotype, and it perpetuates itself, and then it's an irritating thing to. I mean, you hear so much negativity on a construction site. It's like all these people, like, and I don't get it. I like what I do, but all these people just gripe and moan and just. It sucks listening to some people. It's like, man, you love getting in the truck sometimes when you leave a construction site. You're just like, oh, man. I mean, most of the people who live around us, these are second, third homes. They're not here most of the time. They're just blowing money, just letting money flow, and that flow supports us. We do work a lot, like most of the architects that we work for are firms out of Lower Manhattan.
This is physically challenging work, doing this stuff, and that keeps you in shape and keeping you balanced. That's why we got that log down there. That kind of stuff, that's a key part of my philosophy is balance. I always say that, but it's true, you know? I mean, not just like physical balance, but balance and doing other things, yeah. Okay, so I never actually worked for anybody, you know what I mean, on the books kind of thing. You know, I was always subcontractor or whatever. They just wrote me a check. So I figured, probably started in '78 or something like that, doing what I do, yeah. I pretty much have been involved in every aspect of building, you know, homes, you know, from foundations, block work, you know, brick work. You know, we built entire homes out of cement block, but I always wanted to get into doing finished stuff, you know, like, and so I was always playing around with making tables and stuff like that. But, you know, framing, that was like the bread and butter, whatever it took, you know. We gave a price on a house, we'd do the whole thing. Not like a lot of stuff that happens nowadays, you know. Nobody's got patience to wait for one dude to make everything, you know. You know, I had already been in the building trade, and we had good jobs that were out there, and we made a shitload of money, enough to go out there and blow all the money on school. And then I came back again, and...
Do you remember how much school was back in it? How much it cost?
Yeah, it might have been like $3,000 or something, or somewhere in there. Because I remember prep school was like $1,200 or something for a day student. You know, now it's like